Dear students, in the last session we learned about how to change a direct speech statement to indirect speech statement. Now we are going to learn how to change the direct speech WH question to indirect speech or reporting WH questions. WH questions use WH words like who, what, where, when, why, whose, how far, how long, how many, what kind. These question words ask for information. So, WH questions ask for more information than just a yes or no. Students, let us learn how to report these questions. Students, now we will see types of WH questions. There are two types of WH questions. The first type of WH question is with auxiliary verb. That means the WH question with auxiliary verb. The structure of the first type of WH question is WH word plus an auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb plus other words. Let us see examples. Why are you looking so dull? Students, this is a first type of WH question. This question started with WH word why followed by an auxiliary verb or subject you, main verb looking, and other words so dull. In this question, auxiliary verb is there. So, this is a first type of WH question. Next one. What do you want to do now? Students, this is also the first type of WH question. This question started with WH word what, followed by an auxiliary verb do, subject you, main verb want, and other words to do now. In this question also auxiliary verb do is there. So this is a first type of WH question. Next one. Why haven't you gone to school today? Students, this is also first type of WH question. What is the auxiliary verb in this question? Have is the auxiliary verb. The question started with WH word why. So it is a WH question type 1. Students, it is a negative question because the word negative word not is there in the question. Students, have you understood the first type of WH question? So the first type of WH question will have an auxiliary verb. So in these three examples, auxiliary verbs are there. In the first question, or is the auxiliary verb. In the second one, do is the auxiliary verb. In the third one, have is the auxiliary verb. So if a WH question have an auxiliary verb in it, we call that the first type of WH question. Students, now we will see second type of WH questions. The second type of WH question is without auxiliary verb. That means the WH question without auxiliary verb. The structure is WH word plus main verb plus dash dash dash. That means in the dash object will come or other words will come. Let us see an example. Who gave her those roses? So this is a WH question. And second type of WH question, because there is no auxiliary verb in the question. The question started with a WH word who followed by a main verb gave. So this is a second type of WH question. Let us see next example. Who took my pen? This is also a second type of WH question because there is no auxiliary verb. The main verb is there, took, but there is no auxiliary verb. The question started with the WH word who followed by a main verb took. So this is a second type of WH question. Second type of WH question. Students, up to now we have seen two types of WH questions. The first type with auxiliary verb, the second type without auxiliary verb. Students, let's see what changes will take place when a direct speech WH question changes into an indirect speech. Shailaja said to Navina, "Where are you now?" Students, see here the actual words of the speaker are quoted as it is in inverted commas. So it is in direct speech. Let's see how will be the indirect speech to this question. Sailaja asked Navina where she was then. Here only the idea of the speaker is conveyed, so it is in indirect speech. Shailaja asked Navina where she was then is in indirect speech. Students, see what changes have been taken place when the direct speech question changed to indirect speech. The first change is a reporting verb said to is changed to asked. Second one, link word. Students, do you remember in the previous lesson when the statement changed from direct speech to indirect speech, that has been added as a link word? But here that will not come as link word. The question word itself acts as a link word. So in this example, the question word where acted as a link word. Third change. Question is changed to statement. Where are you now is a question. It is changed to a statement. Where she was then. Fourth change. The tense of the direct speech is changed. The present tense are is changed to past tense was. Fifth change. Pronoun you is changed to she. Sixth change. Punctuation marks are removed. Seventh change. Nearness now changed to distance then. Students, seven changes took place here. So when a direct speech question changed to indirect speech, seven changes took place. Students, let us see one more example. The headmaster asked, "Why did you keep away yesterday?" Here, the actual words of the speaker are quoted as T's. Why did you keep away yesterday? These are the actual words of the speaker. These words are quoted in inverted commas. So it is in direct speech. Let us see how will be the indirect speech to this question. The headmaster inquired why he had kept away the previous day. Here, the idea of the speaker is conveyed, so it is in indirect speech. The headmaster inquired why he had kept away the previous day is in indirect speech. Students, let us see how many changes have been taken place from direct speech to indirect speech. First change. Reporting verb asked is changed to inquired. Second change. Link word is the question word why itself. So the question word why itself acted as link word in the indirect speech. Third change. The tense of the direct speech is changed. The tense in the direct speech is in past tense, simple past tense. Did keep. It is in simple past tense. So did keep is changed to had kept. That means simple past is changed to past perfect. Next, pronoun you is changed to he. Next change, question changed to statement. So why did you keep away yesterday? It is a question. So this question is changed to statement. Why he had kept away the previous day. So why he had kept away the previous day is a statement. So question changed to statement. Punctuation marks are removed. Nearness yesterday. So nearness in time yesterday is changed to distance the previous day. So here also seven changes took place when a direct speech question changed to indirect speech. Students, have you understood how many changes have been taken place here? 7 changes. So when a direct speech question changes from direct speech to indirect speech, 6 to 7 changes will take place. 6 to 7 changes will take place. Students, up to now we have seen how many changes have been taken place when a type 1 WH question changes from direct speech to indirect speech. Now we will see what changes will take place when second type of WH question changes from direct speech to indirect speech. Let us see an example. Ramya asked Sita, "Who gave you those roses?" Here, "who gave you those roses" is in inverted commas. These are the actual words of the speaker. So, it is in direct speech. Here, the actual words of the speaker quoted as it is. So, it is in direct speech. See the question, "Who gave you those roses?" There is no auxiliary verb in the question. So, this is type 2 WH question. Now, let us see the indirect speech to this question. Ramya asked Sita who had given her those roses. Here, the idea of the speaker is conveyed, so it is in indirect speech. Students, observe the indirect speech sentence carefully. Have any changes been taken place? Yes, some changes have been taken place when we changed the direct speech to indirect speech. Let us see what changes have been taken place when we changed the second type of question from direct speech to indirect speech. First change, comma and inverted commas are removed. So there are no commas and inverted commas in indirect speech. They are removed. Second change, the tense in the direct speech is changed. So what is the tense in the direct speech? Gave is the verb. So it is in simple past tense. So the simple past is changed to past perfect. So gave changed to had given. Gave changed to had given. Next change. There is a change in pronoun also. Pronoun you change it to her. You change it to her. And the question, "who gave you those roses?" is changed to statement. Who had given her those roses? In this statement, the question word who is the subject to the statement, and also it is acting as a link word. So here in type 2 questions, the question word will act as a subject to the statement and also will act as a link word. So that is the difference between the type 1 question and with type 2 question. Okay, students, have you understood this? Students, now we will see the rules for changing WH questions into indirect speech. The first rule, the reporting verb said should be changed to asked or any other suitable reporting verb. Let us see an example. Raju said to me, "What are you doing?" Students, what is the reporting verb here? Said to. So as per rule, this should be changed to asked. The said to should be changed to asked. So in indirect speech, this will become Raju asked me. Raju asked me. So this is the first rule. So the reporting verb said should be changed to asked or any other suitable reporting verb. Okay. So based on this rule, I changed said to as asked. So we can also change said to as inquired. Raju inquired me. So instead of Raju asked me, we can also say this as Raju inquired me. Okay, students? So this is rule 1. Now we'll see rule 2. That should not be used as a link word for any questions. Students, do you remember? We used that as link word in statements in the previous session. But here, that should not be used as a link word for any question. When you want to change the question from direct speech to indirect speech, so you should not use that as link word. So here, that will not come. So when we change the direct speech question to indirect speech, that will not come as a link word. So here Razo asked me, after that, that will not come. Students, let us see rule number 3. The questions that begin with what, why, where, who, whom, whose, which, when will take the same word as the link word. That means the question word itself will act as a link word in WH questions. So let us see the example. Razu asked me what. Razu asked me what. So here what is the link word? What is the link word? So in WH questions, when we change the direct speech to indirect speech, that will not come. But the WH question word itself will act as a link word. Rule number 4. After the link word, subject should be written first, then the verb. That means after the link word, we have to change the question into statement. In statement, subject will come first, after that verb. But in question, verb will come first, after that subject. So when we change the WH question from direct speech to indirect speech, we have to change the question to statement. So here Raju said to me, "What are you doing?" So what are you doing is a question. So this should be changed as statement. Raju asked me what I was doing. What I was doing. Here, what is a link word? I was doing is a statement. I was doing is a statement. So question should be changed as statement. So in statement, the subject should come first, after that verb. This is rule number 4. Students, have you understood the rules? So there are 4 rules. In rule 1, reporting verb said should be changed as asked or any other suitable reporting verb. Rule number 2, link word that should not be used as link word here. Rule number 3, the question word should be used as link word in WH questions. Rule number 4, the question should be changed as statement. Should be changed as statement. Students, let us see an example from our textbook. Swami's father asked Swami, "My dear Swami, why haven't you gone to school today?" Students, here the actual words of the speaker are quoted as it is. So it is in direct speech. The question is WH question here because the question started with WH word why. So it is a WH question. Students, is it type 1 WH question or type 2? How can we know that? We have to see the auxiliary verb. If auxiliary verb is there, that is WH question type 1. If auxiliary verb is not there, that is type 2 WH question. So is there any auxiliary verb in the question? Yes. Auxiliary verb is there. What is that? Have. So here, have is the auxiliary verb. So this question is type 1 WH question. Now we will see the indirect speech to this type 1 WH question. Swami's father asked Swami why he hadn't gone to school that day. Students, here the idea of the speaker is conveyed. So it is in indirect speech. Students, observe the changes. I did not change the reporting verb. What is the reporting verb in direct speech? Asked. I used the same verb in indirect speech also. So as per rule 1, the reporting verb said is there. we have to change that said to asked. Now here the reporting verb is asked. So that's why I did not change the reporting verb here. Next, why, WH word why is used as link word in indirect speech. And the question is changed to statement. Why haven't you gone to school today is a question. It is changed to a statement. He hadn't gone to school that day. He hadn't gone to school that day. So question is changed to statement. Next, have you gone? Have gone. Have gone is a present perfect tense. It is in present perfect tense. So it is changed to past perfect tense. Had gone. And today is changed to that day. And inverted commas are removed. Students, have you understood how to change a question from direct speech to indirect speech? In this session, we have seen two types of WH questions and how to change these two type of WH questions from direct speech to indirect speech.